Oh yeah! Welcome to Weddings Uncensored, where we drink and talk and talk and drink. I'm Kyle.
I'm Allie, and we are here breaking down the good, the bad, and the downright crazy of this whole wedding industry.
Cheers.
Cheers!
Woo!
Ding! We have our water bottles today. So lame. It's your ASMR water bottle. We are getting into kind of a fun one today. We're going to talk about some red flags.
Insert red flags.
Insert red flags.
Red flags.
Not about dating or
and not about us.
Not about us. Our own red flags. That's a whole other episode.
We're toxic.
Oh, the daddy issues and the trauma,
the trust issues,
full of red flags.
Relationship issues.
That's for another podcast.
Maybe not.
We're talking about vendor and venue red flags as you are planning and shopping around and trying to build your wedding day. These are some things that you might want to take pause on and, just consider some options.
And we're shedding the light from experience from the couples that we have served or just as we have seen at our own venues and own weddings of what you should not do or be prepared to do.
Yeah. And I think I thought of this because I had a bride who emailed me and was like, I really like this florist, but, this, like, there's these things that kind of were making me feel a little uncomfortable, this lack of communication and this kind of not adding up with the like numbers that they had given her, they were all really little things. But I think overall it's really important to trust your gut when you are vendor and venue shopping. And if there is something that's just a little off, like maybe listen to that. And everybody makes mistakes. Like we've all done it. I've fucked up a proposal before. I'm as a planner coordinator, like we are supposed to be the most organized, but it's not to say that we are not human and we don't make an occasional mistake.
I've missed certain photos or video moments where like the couple was very serious about like, oh, we would love to have this. And it just didn't get captured. I wasn't there. There was only one shooter. There's situations.
Or
stuff happens.
Miss an email early in the process or whatever. So obviously we're giving all of our wedding friends lots of grace. Things, things happen. So these red flags are not necessarily like deal breakers. That could be a whole nother episode. Is the deal breaker episode.
Oh, that would be a good one. Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of some things I guess to take note of, right?
Yeah. What's the first thing you want to talk about?
I think the first thing I want to talk about is just like the overall enthusiasm and reception that you're getting from that venue or vendor. Like, does that person seem excited to serve you? Because they should be. Like, this is a huge day. Yes, we are all just like, we're completing a task. We're doing a job. Like, this is our job. You're probably not stoked to go to your job at the fucking Chase Bank or Staples or whatever every day. Like, just like we all have bad days. But overall, we understand the importance of what this day means and like how big of a deal it is, not just for you, but for your families. And if you're not getting like a general sense of enthusiasm from, whoever you're talking to, I think that's like a huge piece.
Yeah, I don't want to answer the phone and like, oh, thanks for reaching out. What can I do for you?
Yes.
Keeping it like short and sweet. No, I want to get to know you more.
Yes.
I want you to get to know me. I mean, I'm spending the day with you on what could be the happiest day of your life from that day on, or that day so far.
Yeah.
And I want to be a good memory on this wedding day.
Right.
I want to make sure that yes, you're having fun, but I also want to have fun too.
Yes.
So I want to enjoy my work.
Yeah.
I think everyone should.
Yeah. So asking questions both ways, right?
Yes.
Opening up that communication.
Yes.
Do they seem like they're just like, oh, it's so busy, but I guess we can squeeze you in? Like, no.
Yeah.
There's, especially in California, obviously it's probably different in other parts of the country, but like there are so many amazing creatives and vendors to choose from. Like you should find someone that is stoked.
Yeah.
And that especially speaks to couples that are, like queer couples or somebody that if you feel like you're in a minority, you're asking for something maybe a little bit different. Like they shouldn't be like, oh, I guess we can make that happen.
Yeah.
Like we're not tolerant of, this or that. We are stoked.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. I think that's like a big one for me.
I just actually spoke to a lesbian couple, like an inquiry, and I was talking to them, and I think 20 minutes had gone by in the consultation, and they're like, oh, you know, like we noticed a couple posts, like, how do you guys feel about shooting a lesbian couple? And I was like, you're a lesbian couple. I mean, It is what it is. Love is love. We don't care. It doesn't matter to us. And I was like sad that they had to ask that question.
Yeah.
But I hope that they saw, like, just because they're a lesbian couple makes absolutely no difference to me.
Yeah.
Of what I can do for you.
Yeah.
And how excited I am.
How excited I am. Yeah.
You know,
and I think it's okay, even like, especially for vendors who are looking to like grow their, portfolio of like queer couples to like, you can even be like, yeah, I'm fucking stoked that you're a lesbian couple. I love that. I want to support you. Mm-hmm. Like, this is something that is important to me and my, personal philosophies, and it in line should be my business philosophies. And so like, I mean, if you were a lesbian couple shopping around, you would be way more excited by that response, you know?
100%.
So, yeah, I think that that's really good. So, general enthusiasm and not feeling like you're, like, taking up too much of their time is huge.
I'll say, even to flip it, too, is, like, there's the attitude from the vendor side of how excited you are to talk to me will also gauge of like how quickly and how excited I am to like want to shoot your wedding. Because if you're like, oh, I guess we have time to chat, at this time, and you answer the phone, you're like, hi, hello, what do you do? And like, it's very boring. Then I'm like, okay, well, this isn't really fun. Like, you're supposed to be having fun on your wedding day. You know what I mean? So I think too, from a vendor perspective, if you're not bringing an excited energy as well to be able to like, oh, I would love to have you at my wedding, then the roles kind of flip too.
The red flags on both sides for sure.
100%.
I think that's been a really cool thing about doing this podcast is like meeting clients that have reached out because they listen to us and they're like, they already feel like they know us a little bit. And like, I just did a wedding on Saturday for Weddings Uncensored super fan. Shout out Grace and Joe. But it was really cool. Like, I was doing their rehearsal and they were literally like, yeah, like, I already know what you're going to say because we listened to your episode on rehearsals. Like, how fun,
It happened like 3 weeks ago at a wedding, and they were like, it was at eBell too. Like, oh my God, I feel like I'm with a superstar right now. And I was like, oh my God, stop.
I know. It kind of makes me cringe, but it's also really lovely. Cool, it's also really lovely.
Cool. It's cool.
So kind of along those same lines, I think another huge red flag, and this is something that I hear quite common, is just like a lack of communication then. Or like maybe their first phone call, they're so eager and they sound awesome and you're like, oh my God, I fell in love with this florist. But then they just drop off the face of the planet, or they're super slow on getting back to you, not getting the proposals that you asked for. Like, and God, sometimes they sell you on it, like their personality, or you're obsessed with their Instagram or whatever it is. But like, do not ignore those red flags, because if they're not, before they've booked you, if they're not being responsive, like, that is not going to be good, because once they've booked you and sold you, it's then you're done. You're
stuck in a contract.
Yes, you're just stuck in a contract and you are not on their radar anymore, and that is like a really shitty thing to be.
No, 100%. I think just having the awareness in general of leading up to, I've asked if you're free, how quickly are you to get back to me? Because I think we run a business, so like, if we don't book couples, we're not making money in general. So our livelihood is dependent on our response rate.
Which is so wild to me when people aren't responsive. I'm like,
hello, don't you need money to run your business?
Well, I think like peeling back the curtain a little bit, first of all, there are a lot of wedding vendors that this is not their full-time job.
True.
It's really hard to be a full-time whatever, planner, photographer,
wedding,
100%.
Signage
person, whatever you are. So it is very commonly not everybody's full-time job. So there's that, which is, I don't think that's necessarily a red flag. There's lots of people that do this as a part-time hustle and also have a corporate job or whatever. And I don't think that in and of itself
no shade against that.
No, I don't think that in and of itself is a red flag at all. But are they making the time to make this side hustle also as important?
I think, and are they being transparent about it too? Of like, oh, like, thanks for reaching out. Like, an automated email, you know, of like, hey, I actually work, you know, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Right.
I'll get back to you by 5:30 Monday and Thursdays.
Yes.
You know?
For sure. Yeah.
So
being
something
transparent.
Like that.
And that's like super important on both sides too, right?
Exactly.
Like, what is this
What's
communication going to look like? What are the expectations? So I think that's a big piece of it. Is it's a lot of people's part-time hustle. And also there's a lot of creatives in the vendor world, and they're really good at their thing. They're really good at photographing. They're really good at baking cakes. They're really good at calligraphy. But like business is a whole set of like different skill set, right? So answering emails, figuring out payroll,
all the
fucking
admin,
like it's fucking miserable. Like none of us like to do it. Yeah. That's
so
not why we got into this business. We're like, you know what? I love taxes.
If
like,
for real. Oh my God.
So there's also that, like there are these really amazingly talented florists that just suck at the business side of things.
Yeah.
But figure it out.
Yeah.
Like you are running a business and your clients need communication as well. So
something for like the vendors to, it's okay to not be good at something, but don't make the excuse to not grow or not get better or not set the clear expectations to the couple of like, hey, this is how I work. This is how it's like to work with me.
Right.
I do this full time, or I don't do this full time. I actually have another job.
Yeah.
So, you know, as far as communication, we can book. You can check in with me whenever you want, but like I won't hear really much of anything from you probably until like a month and a half before the wedding. You might be booking 18 months or a year or 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
So it's okay to have like a big silence
where there's nothing going on. Yeah.
Where there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
You don't need to talk about music every day. So you don't need to talk about photos every day.
It seems like some couples do, but
unless it's the algorithm for the reels, you know, that's about it though.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that, that's definitely a good one. And I think on that same path is like the vendor who does it all. He's a DJ and his wife is a photographer, and they'll also do your flowers because, you know, whatever. Yes, there are there's some vendor categories I think that they can check like multiple boxes. Like a DJ also provides lighting for the dance floor.
Yes,
or right, 100%. Like that's like intuitive and kind of makes sense.
Or photo and video.
Yes.
Sometimes there can be red flags though. On
that.
Even on a photo and video.
Right.
But yeah,
the jack of all trades, master of none is a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
And it might seem like, oh, this makes my life so much easier because I can just hire this one vendor. But just again, take some pause, really do some research into like all the things that person is offering you and, you know, why. There's this one DJ, they actually do a really good job, but they're like also really big on Chivari chair rentals. Like why? And actually I'll say I've worked with them and it has worked out fine. But to me that was like
weird.
Red fucking flag.
You're right.
Why are you so like a DJ but also very into chairs? Like
okay, so maybe it's a bad example. It's rare that you have
it's a red flag. But doesn't again, none of these red flags are necessarily deal breakers. I just think they're like reason to pause because this particular
100%.
DJ does a good job. But like there's definitely some that are like, I also have tables. And like it's weird. So
that leads into the next topic though of like making sure that you have a good idea or you've seen like a gallery of work or you've seen reviews, like you've done the research with them, because if they're saying they can do X, Y, and Z, but they only have reviews for X, don't trust them for Y or Z. You know?
Yeah. Or unless they're being like, again, transparent about like, you know, I just launched this photo booth side of my business. You know, it'd be really awesome. Like that's where the enthusiasm comes in. That's where the communication and the transparency comes in. So,
and if that happens too, always ask for a deal.
Yeah, that's true too.
Always ask for a deal.
That's very true.
Because if they're new, that means that this is a market that they're trying to get into now.
Right.
And if they're trying to get into it, they'll consider it a wash at some point.
They have to. You know they have to do some gigs.
Yeah. They can't charge what everybody else is charging that has been doing it for years. So I would always say of like, oh, okay, like, you know, it's even happened for photo and video, not for our company, obviously, but I know of other companies where they are doing, they're photographers and they're interested about doing video, and either, you know, they'll talk to me or some other videographers and ask some questions, and they're like, okay, I want to offer it now. It's like, okay, well, just make sure you're being transparent with the couple. Like, hey, I don't have a wedding video. I've never edited a film, you know, like,
and no shade on people trying to expand their business or people that are new in the business, but same thing. Do your research. So we talk a little bit about styled shoots in one of our early episodes.
Yes.
And that is like
a fake wedding.
What's
a styled shoot?
What's
Allie?
a styled shoot? A styled shoot is literally a photo shoot that is staged from beginning to end, often including like a bride and a groom model, like rentals, florals, the whole shebang.
And when we say models, we mean paid models. Paid models that know how to take really good photos, know multiple poses, don't ask questions. They just go and execute.
Yes. These styled shoots have unlimited amounts of time to make these shots look gorgeous. Exactly. There are not 150 drunk guests around fucking shit up. We're not dealing with usually the elements and like lighting issues and all of that.
Or
everything
only
is
5 minutes to take photos.
Yes, exactly. So when you're looking at a gallery of any vendor, right, anybody's portfolio, whether it's the cake vendor or the signage person or the photographer themselves, take note of what is a real wedding and what is a styled shoot. Maybe they don't have a ton of experience and that's why they're using a styled shoot to post on their Instagram. Fine, but you need to know that. And more transparency within the industry and labeling it when it is not a real fucking wedding.
Yes. Because you can have amazing photos and have taken amazing photos, but guess what? Models typically know where light works best on their faces and their bodies. Yeah. So one photo taken with a model versus a normal, quote unquote, normal person that doesn't know about the lighting and the angles and stuff like that. Like it can look very different. And, as far as like the quality or the production side. So,
definitely. Yeah. Are there any other like red flags on the photo video thing specifically, you think?
Ooh, photo video. I think I wouldn't even call it a red flag, but I personally, maybe it's more of a hot take of like, I don't understand why videographers sometimes will charge like the same or double the amount of the contract for raw footage. They have to use all the raw footage to make the film.
They have you have to do that part.
You literally have to do that. So I would say like, I personally wouldn't, I think it would be weird if a videographer says, "Oh, I want raw footage," and it costs like $1,500. That seems kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
The footage is just sitting on a drive,
I think that's a good one. Like pricing obviously is huge, right? Like, is someone priced super low or are they priced super high? Yeah. Are they double what everyone else is charging and why? Yeah. Maybe that's okay. Maybe they're your dream photographer and it's okay that it's questions. $10,000 and whatever, fine. But I think especially pricing too low, obviously, is the big red flag.
Yeah. And that goes with any vendor, I guess. Understanding of like, okay, what does an average market in your location look like for a planner, a venue, photo video for a DJ. So
doing that research, because it does vary so much. I mean, there's coordinators that will charge $600. Like our charge is like $2,800. There's ones that charge $5,000 and we all offer the same package. So there's this huge discrepancy among most vendor categories, and like talk to them. Like, what does that mean? Where is that coming from? Like, how is their business model work? How many weddings are they doing? All those kinds of questions to try to figure out why that pricing makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, did we talk about the all-inclusive venues?
Yes.
We did?
No, we didn't. But I was just agreeing with you.
Yes, we need to talk about this.
We need to right now. Yes. So venues, there's so many red flags, I suppose, but an all-inclusive venue kind of goes along with the like vendor that does too much.
It's a I wouldn't say it's necessarily a red flag, but it's definitely caution.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of caution.
If they have, and it's really like what is for everybody, right? There are some of these really like, it sounds like I'm throwing shade when I say like a cookie cutter venue, but like some people just want a wedding and they want it to be easy and they don't want to shop around. And having a venue where the DJ is built in and the florist is built in and the cake is built in.
The photographer is built in.
Yes, like great. And if that's you, awesome. Yep. But know that can be a red flag for sure.
And if things didn't turn out exactly how you wanted, well, you weren't in control of it anymore.
No.
The venue was.
Yeah. So. And I do feel like those vendors that are like contracted in, like they can end up kind of just like slipping because it's like they're not really working that hard for that business. All they have to do is like go enough work. To not like fuck shit up so that the venue.
Not ruin the relationship.
Yeah, not ruin the relationship with the venue. But like, are they really putting their best foot forward every single time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
That'd be kind of, I mean, at least on a photo video side, I feel like that would be really, I don't know, bad, I guess. You know, to like rely on the venue to source your photographer and videographer.
Yeah.
Probably not videographer because I honestly don't see venues ever
having
a videographer. Yeah. That's just not a thing. But I have seen like in Temecula, I do know a few venues that are like, no, here's a set list of photographers that you can use. Here's a set list of DJs that you can use. You're not allowed to use anyone else. That would be a big red flag if you're not allowed to. Well, why are you not allowed to?
Yeah, and there are venues. Yeah, there's a lot of venues that do that. They have a vendor list that you are allowed to select from, but that is their vendor list that you can choose from.
I can understand like a planner or a coordinating because they know the venue.
They want people that are familiar with the space.
Exactly. I can understand that. But like if it's a photographer, like not everybody likes that style of photography, or like you can only use these DJs. Like, how do you know the DJ's good?
Well, and again, red flags, but not deal breakers, because some of these are like they work.
It doesn't matter for the couple.
Well, and they work. Yeah. Maybe they do have a really good selection of people, but that's something you want to look at before you book that venue. Is really doing research into those other vendors and know, like again, peeling back the curtain a little, but there are a lot of venues that charge vendors to be on their preferred vendor list, and that's the only reason they're on there is because they pay and they get a cut of every gig, or they pay to be on the list or whatever. So like. Okay, does that necessarily mean it's a bad vendor? No, but again, are they putting all of their best, enthusiasm and interest into this event?
Yeah.
They've already paid their cut. They're just trying to make sure they're getting back their investment of what they paid to be on that vendor list.
Yeah. And okay, so this is, I guess, a little bit peeling back the curtain even more. My question to you is, as my own business, I remember a time where I offered to other planners and other coordinators of like, hey, like as a thank you for you booking or you referring a couple to us, like I would love to be able to offer them something, or offer you something, you as in the coordinator or the planner, right? And sometimes I'll be like, oh, like thank you, anything, if you want to send something, cool, sounds good. Like it's all business relationships at this point, because there is that side to it. But like it's also a gauge of like, how do you know if that vendor's gonna be good or not? You know, like just because a coordinator says so doesn't necessarily make it true. Which goes back to vet through all the work, check their work, have a conversation, have the consultation. But is there a point where you feel like, I don't know, you wouldn't want to trust a certain like recommended vendor list from a certain vendor?
I think it's okay to straight up ask. I mean, like transparently, there is, I don't know if it's recording anymore. My camera's off, people.
Oh no.
What will they
do? Still recording. It was the other SD card.
What will happen if the people can't see me?
It's got two cards. You're good.
Jeez. Okay, full transparency, there is a lot of pay for play in the industry. Between vendors, venues and vendors, like all, on the knot, everything you think you're seeing that looks like reviews and blah, blah, blah is all a bunch of bull. Yelp calls me.
I fucking hate Yelp. If Yelp calls me one more fucking time, I swear to God, and they are so diligent too. They don't give you the room to speak or hang up the phone.
They're the worst. Yeah, there's venues that maybe they don't charge, but they require that you post a certain amount of times on social media about them. Like there's a lot of that going on. Yeah. So for me, I hate it. I don't do it. We don't accept kickbacks. It's not a thing. Yeah. We won't pay to play. Yeah. None of the vendors that we work with give us anything. Like sometimes we'll, just like nicely give someone a gift, like, at Christmas time, sending someone a bottle of wine. Hey, thanks for being such a great partner. But specifically my company passes on any discounts that like a vendor or venue wants to pass on. I pass that on to our clients. I just think that that's what's right. a lot of people do it a different way, and I'm not judging necessarily, but
that's just not how you run your business.
It's not how I run my business, and I personally have some moral issues with it. But lots of vendors would probably disagree with me. And I think it's okay. I think as long as you are being honest and doing your due diligence, and those vendors that are on your list legit are good, then okay, make your money, girl. Make your money. No, whatever. I can respect that.
I think too, like, maybe it's like this whole like content creation, and I'm totally sidelining from our 5 red flags. I knew this was going to happen, but I feel uncomfortable. So I feel like it's a good conversation of like, okay, I know I've offered it to other, but solely for like, hey, as a thank you, like I want to like, thank you again of like, thank you so much. Here's something. But the more I am like confronted with it, the more icky I feel about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% sure why, but like at least at Shore and Wave, like we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and I, full transparency, I'm a preferred vendor for Pop the Champagne. So I give any discounts or like any incentive to the couple of like, usually it's like an extra hour.
You know what I do? I reach out to all my preferred vendors and I say, hey, what do you want to do to like get hype up and get the interest of our clients?
Exactly.
That's the only thing I care about, like, is passing that kind of thing on. So and if it just makes you feel icky, just like,
and I think it's because like I know when an ad is coming, like on social media with influencers, this is a paid partnership with so on and so forth. So there's that transparency on like all the YouTube videos of like, hey, this company sent me this product and they asked me to make a video about it. So like there's an immediate transparency in advertising.
That's true. Yeah.
But with vendors, sometimes, how do you know you are or are not getting that transparency?
Yeah.
So like maybe it should become a thing of like, if you don't want a vendor just because so-and-so is getting a kickback, I think maybe you should ask the question, like the couple should ask the question of like, do you get a percentage of this? Because I feel like, I think even just asking that question should kind of answer the question of like, you
some
shouldn't
kind
even
of response.
do that. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. It feels right.
Yeah.
Right?
It feels so
weird.
It's a really tricky one. It is. Cause I'm trying to think, like, being totally honest, like, there's some big rental companies that will give you like a percentage back. I have taken like, I guess I have taken commissions before. I would be lying if I said that I didn't.
Yeah.
But it's like different. I don't know. It feels different. I don't know.
But
either.
like, but you see what I'm saying though, of like, okay, maybe there should be some kind of transparency in general. Like if there is a potential to make commission off of somebody else's money,
right?
I think they deserve to know that you can make money off of this.
And there was a huge like movement with social media, right? About making sure we labeled things as sponsored posts, making sure this is a paid partnership with, like you just said. Like,
or the same thing even with the idea of styled shoots. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we should be saying like, this was a styled shoot photo or this was a styled shoot video.
Beautiful, gorgeous, but not real.
But this wasn't a real couple. This wasn't a real thing. Like it's on my portfolio. It's on my homepage, right? And it's what attracts and it's what's on all my ads. But it actually wasn't a real couple. This was a completely fake couple. So I don't know. Maybe it's just like a generic, like, I don't know, wedding industry thing that maybe we need to like, I don't know, whoever runs weddings, right?
That's us.
Yeah. All right.
King and queen.
For now on, all wedding industry professionals must disclaim if they are getting a kickback from any client's money.
I'm curious.
I don't know.
I'm curious to see what other vendors think about this topic.
Or I'm curious to think, what do the couples? What do you?
Do you even care? Maybe they don't even fucking care.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because I'm like, again, I'm looking back at social media. I'm like, I'm sure there are plenty of people that still buy the products of like Hot Finds on
of
Amazon.
Course, I do. I
don't give a shit.
Oh, I am influenced. Influenced.
Go ahead, target me.
Yeah,
target me all you want.
And if it's not their money, maybe they don't really care, right? If it's this is like, I'm giving you $100 for sending me business, but it's like the client is out of it. It has nothing to do with them or their money. Like then maybe it's not really that big of a deal. So I don't know. I think obviously, you know, we just have like a want for more transparency and honesty and like just making things easier and simpler for clients. Like that's kind of the goal. And I think that all falls in line with that. But those were some good ones. Yeah.
some good red flags, and then a
good red
random
flags.
Conversation about transparency.
Well,
and
it all kind of falls in line.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about green flags at some point too, because we don't want to always focus on the negative.
No. But that's what you guys want to hear. So
that's what you people want.
You just want to see this camera.
How am I looking today? YouTube. Tired. She looks tired. She just finished
She had a crazy ass weekend.
7-event weekend.
Oh gosh.
She's tired.
Good job. Good job. So proud.
All right. Thanks.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Before we leave.
Yep.
Thank you everyone for listening. We have hit over 10,000 downloaded episodes. Not to say only listened.
Yeah.
10,000 downloaded episodes. So thank you to everybody that has been a part of this Weddings Uncensored journey.
Yeah, and it has been a journey.
Yeah.
We have really been enjoying it. We've got some fun stuff coming up.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably slow down a little bit over the holidays as we're into mid-November now.
Yeah. December we'll take a little break.
Probably. Realistically.
I think you want to take a little break. Just hang out with the family.
I tell my clients that I'm like, this is a great time to just take a break from wedding planning.
100%.
Like, just take a minute.
Yep.
Everyone needs to take a step back occasionally. So like the holidays are such a good time to do that. Everyone's busy. No one really wants to work. Even your vendors are, doing their thing. So
get back up mid-January.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing happening.
Nothing's happening. You're not going to miss anything.
December 20th to January 15th. You don't need to do any wedding. I mean, unless you're getting married during that time.
In which case
we have one wedding January 6th. So
yeah. We've got some early January ones this year too. But
yeah. So,
anyways, okay. We love you. And see you next Tuesday.
Peace.